All right, we got the thumbs up. We are live and ready to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Marketers Mastermind Training. We are really excited about today's training. For one, we're really happy about having our good friend, Mr. Gary Chappelle, along with us today. Welcome, Gary. Yeah. And yep. I'm sorry, guys. Got a little one here. Needs his ring popped. There we go. So anyway, back to it. I know we are all fired up and all excited to bring this stuff to you today, guys. Winners never quit. This is our topic for today. What we're going to probably do is each of us is going to end up giving a little bit of our story as to where we've been. Like, I know personally for me, I'm going to highlight some things that have happened throughout my life that most people would have hung in the towel and said, you know what, I'm done. If this is how my life's going to be, I'm done. I quit. And we're all going to probably give a little bit of where we've been, how we probably developed the winner's attitude of never quitting, because as you know, winners never quit and quitters never win. So we hope after today, hearing from these three awesome guys and myself, that you will develop the winner's attitude and get quit out of your vocabulary, because the thing, especially in business, people do not fail in business because they don't get the results they're looking for, or maybe all the cuddling from a sponsor that they think they should have. They end up quitting. They don't fail, they quit. So we're here to jumpstart you guys, fill you up with some value, give you a good idea of what winners are created from. So on that note, I'm going to send it over to the awesome Mr. Paul Filardo, and then we're going to jump in with our special guest, Gary Chappelle, because I know he is a little bit pushed on time. He's a very popular man, and his time is limited, so we're honored to have him here. On that note, the awesome Mr. Paul Filardo, go ahead and take it away, my brother.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Gary, for joining us today. It's always awesome to have you on board, and of course, the real Chad Cook here, as always. Good to see you, and I appreciate all you guys for coming out, who are watching. Obviously, we're doing this for you, so if you're not here, I mean, what's the point, right? So today's topic, winners never quit. And I think we all have our own little stories about how we've all been like on the verge of maybe there was a question in our mind if this was the right thing, if we want to keep on going in this industry, in this business. I know certainly for me it's come up a couple of times, and you just can never give up. That's the fact of the matter. You're never going to reach your goal if you quit. That's what it boils down to. But I want to talk a little bit about my struggles in the past and what I had to overcome. Some of you know my story. A lot of you are new, so you haven't heard it. I'm not going to go into great detail like I did before, but it'll kind of give you an idea of what I went through to get here. And it may sound a little strange for some people. I know even when I tell it, it still sounds a little strange myself that something that happened so long ago could have affected me for so many years, and how I was able to overcome it. But anyway, here it goes. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always had this feeling inside of me that entrepreneurial spirit, or whatever you call it. I was the kid with the lemonade stand, and when I was a kid, there was this company that used to, I don't know if they're still around, but you go door to door selling greeting cards and wrapping paper. I was the kid who was on board with that, doing this kind of stuff so I could win prizes through this company or something. And it was always things like that that it was always something. I mean, I didn't know the word at the time, but I mean, I was an entrepreneur, and I always had that inside of me. And even as an adult, going from job to job, I could never stay put in one place for more than a couple of years. There was always something eating at me, like there's something more. There's got to be something more, right? And even when I stayed at a company for several years, there was one company I was at for almost 10 years, but I never stayed in the same job in that company for more than a year or two, and I'd always get to that point. There's got to be something else. There's got to be something else. And looking back, it's that I wanted something bigger, bigger than a job working for someone else. And I tried a bunch of stuff. I never gave up, but I never really had the key ingredient or whatever you want to call it to really break through. And this is what it was that I think did it for me. When I was a kid in junior high, I was beat up, picked on, bullied, whatever you want to call it on a daily basis, for 2 years in junior high. And this is where you may be able to relate or may not, but these 2 years in junior high defined almost the rest of my life up to this point. So I was beat up, picked on, bullied for 2 years straight, day in and day out, and it got to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. I mean, it came really close to ending it. And the only thing that prevented that from happening is my second year at junior high, I had the opportunity to go to a technical high school, a completely separate school district, away from all these other people. And I made my decision. You have to take a placement test. You have to be accepted into the school. And I made up my mind at this point when I took that test, if I didn't make it into the school, I was going to end it. That was going to be the end of my life. Luckily, I got into that school, and things turned around for me. I had friends and like close friends, a few. I was never able to. After those 2 years in junior high, I was never able to get close to a lot of people. I always had one or two close friends, but it was really tough for me to really talk to people and express myself. And so, I mean, to give you an example of that, I'm married 25 years now. Met my wife in high school. Some of you know we just had a huge surprise anniversary party this past weekend, which is awesome. But to show you like how insecure I was never able to really talk to girls, right? And it was my wife in high school at the time who asked me out, and that's how we got together. Like, she asked me out. Actually, her friend asked me out for her because she was a little shy too. But so moving forward through life, we got married right out of high school. Love my wife, love my family, and everything. But I was never able to build relationships. I was never able to talk to people. I went through a long time, depression. And I suffered from anxiety for a long, long time. I was on medication for years for my anxiety, and I'm happy to say I'm off all the medication now. And it's because of this business, actually. The people that I met in this business and the mindset training that I got in this business that totally changed me. I mean, go back just a year ago. I mean, not even a year ago, 8 months ago, I couldn't get up in front of people on a webcast. I don't know how many people are here right now watching, but I mean, I couldn't even talk in front of Chad, Ed, and Gary because there were too many people. I'd be scared to death to speak in front of any number of people. Unless it was like one-on-one, I could deal with that, but any number of people, I could never imagine doing what I'm doing right now back then. And it was back in January of this year, actually. we had our Empower Network event in Austin, Texas, and something really struck a chord with me there. And that's where I realized that I need to get over all of this BS that I've been dealing with for the past 30 years. I mean, it made me sit down and think long and hard about why the way I was, what caused me to be the way I was, and realize that if I didn't get over it, I'm never going to get anywhere. And I think that kind of plays into the whole theme here of winners never quit, because there have been plenty of times along the way that I've wanted to quit in different businesses that I've been in. Because honestly, up to this point, up to about 7 months ago, I've never seen real success in my own business, in my own internet marketing business. It wasn't until I broke through and realized where I was coming from and where all these mind blocks came from that I was able to break through. But with all that, even though like the several years of failures that I'd gone through, I never gave up. I just kept plugging and plugging and plugging away. And finally, when I was able to have this breakthrough and realize what was going on, that's when everything changed for me. And now I'm seeing success. I'm building my team. I mean, I'm doing these weekly trainings with Chad and Ed, and we're happy to have Gary here today. And I also do my own webinars. A plug here. I'm doing a webinar tonight, so if you're on my list, watch for that. And actually, my webinar came about after this event in Austin back in January, because I realized that if I needed to break through, I just need to get over it and just do it. I need to put myself out there, no matter how hard it was for me. If I never did it, I was never going to be able to get over it. And now I absolutely love getting up in front of people. I mean, it's amazing to know that that my words can actually inspire and help other people, and that's exactly what's happening. I can't tell you, when I originally told my story on my very first webinar, probably about 6 months ago now, I told my whole story, probably talked for an hour and a half, and was scared to death. After that webinar, and even up to this point, people are still coming up to me and saying that I was so inspiring to them, and they could relate to my story. And yeah, it's an amazing, amazing feeling. And if I had quit, I never would have been able to break through. I never would have realized that what happened 30 plus years ago affected me so deeply, and I wouldn't be where I am today. And to think that I could be without all of this, without all you guys, you know, this business, this team, the friendships I've built over the past 7-8 months, it's just been amazing. And to think if I'd quit, I don't know where I'd be. I'd still be on my medication. I can tell you that right now, because all the anxiety that I had and the depression, it was just out of control, and it was this mindset training that we get here at Empower Network that really wrangled everything in and put everything into perspective for me. And that's what's keeping me going, and that's what's giving me the success that I'm seeing now. And that is what, no matter what struggles any of you are going through right now, we can help you, but you need to help yourself. And if you hit a stumbling block, there are going to be stumbling blocks, honestly. I mean, it's not all going to be sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, right? There are going to be problems that you run into. What you have to realize is they're just little stumbling blocks, all right? You just have to push through them and move on, and don't quit, because once you quit, you're never going to reach that level of success. You're never going to reach that goal. You're not going to have the same kind of feeling that I'm having right now, and what I think the rest of my team, what the rest of you guys are feeling, because to me at least, I don't want to speak for you guys, but it's an amazing feeling being where I am right now, and I really owe it all to people like you, Chad, Ed, Gary, the countless other people who are on our team. It's just amazing. We all, lifting me up and lifting everybody up, helping. I mean, there's so much help on our team. It's just amazing. So yeah, I mean that's a little bit about me, where I'm coming from, and I think you can see that if I quit and didn't push through, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be where I am right now, and that's about all I have to say. I'm going to throw it back to you, Ed, and also before I do that, there's a comment box under the video. If you guys have any questions at all, do the questions there, because I'm not while I'm speaking, but after I pass it off, I actively answer any questions or comments or whatever. So please feel free to ask. We're all here to help. So I thank you again, and back over to you, Ed.
Big hand for you, Paul, man. I'm so proud of you, and it's been an honor, an absolute honor, and because we pretty much got started about the same time, and I've gotten to witness, what you just spoke about that's happened to you in the last 7 months or so, and I appreciate you. You are awesome. People that are listening right now, that are going to listen to this recording, Paul Filardo was at a point in his young life where he actually considered ending his life because of, the bullying and such that was going on in school. And here he is today. Now there was a lot of things that happened, in between there, but he's here because he never quit, he never gave up, and he knew that one day he was going to reach that level of success that he wanted to. So I clap to you, brother. I'm so proud of you. Get over it. Just like Paul said, there's going to be things that happened in your life, and if you continue to dwell on them, you're never going to be able to move forward. So from this day on, get over it. It's gone. It's in the past. It absolutely doesn't matter anymore. So don't focus on what's happened. Focus on what's going to happen. And you're going to have major breakthroughs in your life. Breakthroughs, just like Paul talked about there. He ended up going to a live event which caused him to have a breakthrough, caused him to look back on life events that happened to him that were the reason why he wasn't able to progress the way he wanted to, and then he was able to address those and conquer them. I mean, look at him. He speaks like a pro now. He's conquered that stuff from the past, had a breakthrough, and now his main journey in life began about 7 months ago. So hats off, my brother. I love you. I'm actually going to pass it over to the awesome Gary Chappelle, because I know he's a little pressed for time. So Gary, again, it's awesome to have you here. Gary has been a internet network marketer for many, many years. I'll let him touch on how many, but I know it's been quite a few. He's been very successful. So if you're watching out there, the one thing that I tell everybody, if you want to achieve success in your life and in business, follow the people that are already successful and then do what they do. So with that, listen to what Gary Chappelle has to tell you. Gary, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you, man. Take it away.
Oh man, thank you, Ed. I appreciate you guys inviting me on. This is a real pleasure. And I mean, Paul's story is just, illustrative of why it's important to tell your story. I mean, everybody on this panel, and we've all been on other hangouts where other people have been on there, and everybody has their own story, right? I mean, and the importance of telling a story is that there are people out there that can identify with you, and so it's important to get out there. What Paul's doing, getting out there, speaking, and he's just building this great team now where people are following him, and I've seen comments from his team members talking about how he inspires them. So it's important to really get out there and get your story out there. So I appreciate the opportunity to come on. My story is a lot different from Paul's. you know, I was on. We have this girl that's on our team called Princess Fizz, and she had a show this morning, and she had Joanne Pham on there. And Joanne Pham is a really rising star in our industry, and she kind of comes from a similar background as me. She was in the IT industry, and she told her story this morning about how she was 15 years in the industry, and then all of a sudden, guess what? She gets this call from Human Resources. And she goes downstairs, and she sees these two guys in suits sitting there with their clipboards, and she knew it wasn't good. And she thought, man, you know, first of all, she said she was the only woman in this group of like 18 guys, so she thought she had really good job security. She's the only female. She was a minority. She was from an Asian background, so she thought she had good job security. And she goes down there and she gets canned. So I kind of come from a similar background. My background started when I was younger, when for some reason I gravitated towards self-improvement books. I used to read all the time about Think and Grow Rich, for example, was one of my favorite books growing up. I read Psycho-Cybernetics when I was like 9 years old. And these books had a large impact on me as I grew into a young adult and then onward, and I didn't know it at the time. Looking back on it now, I can see where I got a lot of my entrepreneurial mindset from. And I was like Paul in that sense. I was always an entrepreneur. I was always trying to figure out ways to improve my life. And so I got into the IT industry. I've been around a long time in that industry. I got involved in the 1970s, so I'm kind of dating myself. But I started off as a computer operator, became a computer programmer, you know, did the whole ladder thing, programmer analyst, became a project lead, you know, did this whole thing. My family and I, we moved out to California. We were out there for 7 years. That's where I got involved in the telecommunications industry, which I absolutely fell in love with. That's back when cell phones were just coming out. And Debbie and I both worked for the same company out there called Pactel Cellular. And they eventually got bought out by Alltel, and then they got bought out by Verizon Wireless. And I absolutely love that industry. But again, I always had this entrepreneurial mindset. I was actually one of the guys that went out in the late 1980s, and I bought a laptop, or not a laptop, I bought a desktop computer, and they were huge back then, big monitors, you know, thick monitors, and I got on the internet. And it was one of the things where you had to take your phone and put it in the phone coupler, you know, and you had to dial and get in, and they didn't even have browsers back then. There was no Netscape. You know, none of those browsers. They had just basically bulletin boards that you logged into. And the big thing for me was they had this application called Sabre. And I don't even remember what Sabre stood for. It was S-A-B-E-R. I don't even remember. But it was what all the airlines used to book airline flights online. And it was so cool. And I was really a geek. And I was like, man, I'm going to book my tickets online, and then I'm going to go tell everybody that I did it because I was really cool, right? So, you know, I thought back then in the late 1980s, man, if I could come up with a product that I could market online, man, I could be wealthy, I could be rich, man, this is going to be awesome. Only problem was I couldn't think of anything to market online. I couldn't think of anything. So I looked into that. I looked into, I don't know how many of you guys have looked into flipping homes. I bought those no money down, you know, you see them on TV late at night. Hey, you know, no money down, buy houses cheap. Fix them up, either rent them or sell them. I looked into that for a while. I did drop shipping stuff. I don't know how many of you guys know about that, but it's where you could get other companies to, you know, ship the products out. All you had to do was sell them, and I tried all kinds of stuff, you know, here and there over the years, and nothing really worked for me, but I still had it in the back of my mind, you know, I was still thinking about it. And when my wife and we finally moved back to the South, because we were originally from Alabama, we'd moved out to California for 7 years, we came back to the South, and that entrepreneurial mindset kicked in. And I said, you know what, I'm tired of the corporate politics, I don't want to deal with that stuff anymore, I'm going to start my own company. And I did. I started a computer consulting company, and Debbie and I both worked for the company. We had other people that worked for our company that we would contract out to other companies, basically telecommunications companies. And we did very, very well. For about 15 years, we did really, really well with the company. But things started getting tough. After 9/11 especially, things just started slowing down, and then companies started outsourcing a lot of their IT work to countries like India. And so it got increasingly difficult for me as the owner of the company to get contracts. They started squeezing the little guys out. If you weren't on the what they called the preferred vendor list of these major corporations, you couldn't do business with them. So I had to start subcontracting through other firms that were in the door. So that cut into our profits because I had to pay the piece of the pie. So it got tougher and tougher and tougher, and contracts got tougher and tougher and tougher. So here I am again. I'm thinking, man, I got to do something here. I was getting burned out. I was tired of all the corporate stuff. Debbie had gone and gotten a full-time job. My wife Debbie had gotten a full-time job. So our income had gotten cut because, you know, contractors make a lot more than full-time people. So I'm sitting there thinking, man, I'm tired of this corporate stuff. I want to do something different, but how am I going to be able to do that? I can't replace my current income. You know, I was in my 50s. I was like, you know, and people today know what it's all like. You get laid off at a company when you're in your 50s, or you're thinking about a career change, and you're thinking, how in the world are you going to start all over? There's no way you're going to be able to make the same amount of income that you used to have. So I'm turning back online again. I'm thinking, man, if I could find a product, man, that I could just market online, I can really do this. I can replace my current income. I can work from home. So I was constantly out there looking online for something to do. And in 2008, I got very fortunate. I came across a guy named Tissagoda Vitarni. He had a platform called Acme People Search, and that step, that action I took that day, and we hear this all the time in this industry about, you know, deciding to change happens in an instant, you know, and so that's what I did. I decided I was going to get into that business. And so I got into Acme People Search, and I thought, man, I found it. I love what he's doing here. This platform is awesome. I'm going to make $1 million. And I got in there, and I didn't make anything. First 2 weeks, nothing. I write Tissa, man. I write Tissa, and I'm going, Tissa, man, what's going on? You know, I started this business. I'm doing what you told me to do, and I'm not making any money. And it's kind of humorous now because he's actually posted a lot of the emails that I wrote to him over the first couple of months that I was with Acme People Search. And it's kind of funny to see the progression. But you know, after a while, I started making some money. I started getting a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, but it wasn't enough to where, you know, I didn't have to do the consulting business anymore. I still couldn't replace my current income. And it really took me about 18 months. I struggled for 18 months. And here's the thing I want you to take away from that, is that most people quit before 18 months. If they don't see results in 18 months, they give up. I didn't give up. I kept pushing through it. And the people who succeed, that's what they do. Like Paul said, you got to push through these obstacles. You have to keep looking at what your goal is, what you want to accomplish, and you keep shooting for that goal. And it doesn't matter what happens to you, you keep pushing through the goals. So here I was 18 months later. I finally got to where I was doing pretty well. I was starting to make a couple $1,000s a month. Now things were starting to pick up. Things were getting good. And the primary way I was marketing, as a lot of marketers were back then in 2009, was they were using Google AdWords, right? Google AdWords was the bomb. I mean, Google AdWords was where it was at, man. Affiliates could put their ads out there, and they could drive a ton of traffic to their websites. Man, if you got good at Google AdWords, you could make a lot of money. So I'm really starting to crank it out now, and I'm starting to get a lot of traffic to my websites. I'm starting to do really well. And one day in September, I come downstairs from the bedroom, I log into my computer, and I don't have any traffic. And I'm like, what in the world's going on here? Nothing's going on. My ads aren't running. And so I look at it, and I look at it. I can't figure out what's going on. I asked Tissa about it. Tissa, what's going on, man? He's not quite sure, you know, what's going on with that. Start looking around on the internet, and all of a sudden, I start seeing some stories coming across. it's not just me that doesn't have their Google AdWords campaigns going. There's a bunch of big-time internet marketers out there. I mean, we're talking about people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. There was one story I read, a guy made over $1 million a month using Google AdWords, and his campaigns got slapped. And that's what they call the Google slap. They basically shut down overnight a couple 100,000, if not over 1 million accounts. They just basically shut down those affiliate ads. And so all my traffic now is stopped. And I'm sitting there going, man, what am I going to do? And think about all those other people. Some of these people, that was the only income that they provided for their families, and now they have no traffic, you know, and they have no source of income coming in. It was a horror story. It really was. It affected a lot of people. You know, talk about Paul, where he was talking about, you know, thinking about taking his life because he was getting bullied in school. There's a bunch of internet marketers out there. If you read some of their stories, similar circumstances, they don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they've just had their traffic shut down, and that's all they know how to do. And now they don't know where they're going to get income from. And so I'm sitting there doing the same thing. I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? Now, I could have quit. I could have quit. You know, I could have just stopped, said, that's it, I'm done, you know, I've had it. But I said, you know what? If Google AdWords isn't going to let me use their platform anymore, I've got to find another way to drive traffic. And you guys that have known me for a while, you know that I started diving into SEO. And SEO isn't quick by any stretch of the imagination. It takes a while to get search engine optimization going. It's another technique to drive traffic, and it takes a while to get it going. So I started doing that while I was doing some other stuff, some other paid advertising on the side to try to get some more traffic going. And now think about this. This was back in 2009. Here we are 4 years later. I've got a lot of traffic that streams into my websites now because I've been doing SEO stuff for 4 years. I've got some websites out there now that have been out there for 3 or 4 years. I'm still getting traffic to now, you know, on a consistent basis. And that's how I started building up my business. So I turned in another direction, did some paid traffic stuff, started doing some SEO stuff, you know, started learning other ways to get around this Google AdWords issue. Yeah, could have quit, but for whatever reason, like Paul said, there's something in your mind that says you're an entrepreneur and you're going to work around those problems and figure out a way to bust through those obstacles and go for it. So that's what I did. I started doing that. Okay, so I got the Google AdWords problem solved. I can still remember this to this day, Ed. I remember this to this day. Debbie and I were at Chili's restaurant having dinner. I hear the little beep on my phone. I pick the phone up because I got an email. I look at the email, and it was from My Life. Now, My Life is a program that was built into the Acme People Search platform. It was a critical part of the platform. It was a cost per acquisition thing. They're still out there today in existence. It's a company that allows you to go ahead and sign up, and then you can, you know, start connecting with old friends, you know, old girlfriends, old boyfriends. You know, it's one of those social companies that lets you do that, find out where they are, what they're doing. Well, that was a critical piece of the platform of Acme People Search. I get this email from My Life saying, we're stopping the affiliate program. Just like that. They're stopping the affiliate program. So I immediately sent a text to Tissa, and I said, Tissa, did you see this? What does this mean? And Tissa's like, I don't know yet. And of course, as the months played out, we tried to find other ways to, you know, put something else in the place of My Life. We never could figure out a great way to do it. And basically, over time, the APS platform is kind of, you know, dwindled. Now, there's still people using it, but it's not like it was in the heyday. It's just not, you know, what it used to be. And so, again, money's disappearing. You know, my income's going down. You know, I had just gotten to where I was getting traffic again, and now the business that I was involved with isn't producing like it used to produce. So, what do? Do you just quit? Do you give up? No. We started looking at other ways, other companies that could provide the kind of income that we wanted. We had already learned some of the marketing skills, so if we could just find, you know, some other companies that provided value that we were looking for to customers, that provided the kind of compensation plan that we wanted, then we would go in that direction. And that's what we did. And over the last couple of years, you guys, Tissa, me, we've been involved in a couple of other companies over these past 4 or 5 years that we've been involved in the internet marketing world, and we've made some really, really good income out of that. And of course, now lately, I joined in December last year. We're all in Empower Network. We're very proud of Empower Network. We love the message that Dave and Dave at Empower Network are providing to people, the fact that you can empower yourself, that Empower Network is not only just a blogging platform, a very good blogging platform that I might add, but they provide the kind of training to teach you how to be a great internet marketer, and they teach you the personal development skills that you really need to be an effective internet marketer. All of this rolled into one in one business, and we're extremely proud about it. We love coming out here and introducing people to it, and that's my journey, and that's the journey of a lot of you guys. Is we started off here, and now we're here. We didn't give up, even though something over here might have happened to us. We might have run into an obstacle. We fought through it and we moved on, and now we're pressing through. And all of us have had the same kind of stories, even though we're from different backgrounds and different situations. We've all had to fight through these same kind of obstacles one way or another. And that's the message, all of us really want to get out to anybody who's watching this, is that you're going to run into obstacles. And it's the way you handle those obstacles that will determine whether you're going to be a success or not. Are you willing to fight through those obstacles? Are you willing to find other ways around those obstacles? That's going to determine whether you're a success in this business or not. So Ed, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I really appreciate you letting me come on and telling my story. I'm going to try to stay on here as long as I can. I do have to run off because I've got another call I've got to stream. But I really appreciate you guys having me on, and I hope this helps somebody out there. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much, Gary. Whenever you have to pull away, we absolutely understand. That's no problem. Thank you so much for sharing that with everybody. It's powerful stuff. And, anybody that's following our Marketers Mastermind trainings, we have, normally 3-4 different points of view or directions that we've come from, in hopes that you can relate at least to one of us rather than it just being one person. And that's the beauty of masterminding. So awesome. Yeah, Gary, when you lose a big income like that, yes, granted, what Paul went through was major. Wanting to take your own life is horrible. Losing an income stream that you supply your entire family with, and you lose that, can cause somebody to want to think those thoughts. So that happened to Gary not just once, but a few times. And the point and the bottom line is, never quit. Never give up. Are you okay with deciding or living in your current situation, or are you so damn fed up with it that you're going to do whatever it takes to achieve those dreams that you're looking for? And that's a big question for a lot of people, and it's a question that some people aren't in a position to answer. And like Gary said, yes, granted, we have the products and the amazing tools, everything in place. But the greatest product and the greatest thing that you can get out of what we do is the personal development. You build yourself up and get the right mindset, you will never think about quitting ever again. Because just get it out of your vocabulary. Quitting is for losers. And I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, but you heard Paul's story. You've heard Gary's. You're about to hear the real Chad Cook. And then I'm going to touch a little bit on mine. These are some shitty situations that we've been in. But we always had the mindset that come hell or high water, we will never live like this again. We will have what we want. We will do what we want with the people we want. And that's what we want for anybody that's out there viewing this training. We want you to never, ever quit. We want you to become a winner so that you can have everything in life that you deserve. Not just that you want, that you deserve. But you got to get it in the right mindset. All right? So, I am actually going to pass it over to Chad, the real Chad Cook. We had a little conversation last night and this morning, and I know he is fired up. I think he's going to be revealing some things that none of us may even know about. Chad is awesome, man. He is the real deal. He's got a heart of gold, and his passion for helping people just blows me away. So, Chad, I love you, man. Take it away.
Thanks, Ed. I appreciate it. And you guys know how I get down. First and foremost, I do want to show my gratitude. Appreciate your time. I definitely appreciate you coming in, man. It's very inspirational as always. Ed, Paul, you know I love you guys, man. You guys are like brothers to me. Welcome to the Marketers Mastermind, guys. I appreciate everybody in attendance, and thanks so much for your time. As I said, and as Ed said, you know, I'm going to reveal something that I've actually never revealed to anybody online before, that, you know, only maybe a good handful of people really know certain things about my story in the past. But just to kind of take it back there, guys, you know, in case you haven't noticed, I have what you call automatically, like Gary said, it's automatic entrepreneurship. And the reason why and how I was able to discover that, guys, is going back, I'd say back when I was 20, I guess 22, 23 years old. I'm 35 years old now, but going back several years ago, even taking it back 5 years ago, I've ran into a situation, guys, where I had my first son. Okay, he's actually 11 years old today, but back when he was 4 years old, the mother of our children, I'm not trying to speak negative about anybody, but the mother of our children decided to basically have me replaced because I was working so hard and so long that I was barely spending time with my family. That kind of destroyed what would have been probably a decent amount of future. But making a long story short here, guys, our second child was born, and we're getting ready to have our third child, my biological children. Okay, during this process, the mother of our children decided to see someone else, and pretty much kicked me to the curb. Now, it was obviously, you know, I made some sacrifices, I made some mistakes, we all have, but the point of this matter is I didn't have a dollar in my pocket. I had a prepaid cell phone at the time, the clothes on my back, and I was living in a suburban type of area where I was unknown, didn't know anybody, and I was homeless for a little bit, guys. You know, I had to force and move back to the city, which is in Orlando, Florida, when my actual story began. Now, during this process, I just want you to picture this one thing: having your children for no one to call, to help, or anything, and you're stuck out there on the streets with nobody to depend on and nothing to do, and you're broke, you're hungry, you're tired, you're weak. And I found out a way to get myself back to Orlando, Florida, where I knew opportunity would, you know, present itself. If it didn't present itself, I was going to make sure I found a way to present itself. But guys, I was out there in Orlando, Florida, right there by Church Street and Orange Avenue, over there by East Colonial. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Orlando, Florida, but I was in the roughest part of the area in Orlando, Florida, you know, trying to survive. Now, granted, I didn't go around begging for money. I didn't ask for handouts. I didn't even ask for nobody for a damn thing, to be honest with you. Maybe it was my pride that got in the way of that. Who knows? But to make a long story short, guys, is I would walk downtown to where all the clubs were. Now, I didn't present myself to be homeless. I actually kept good hygiene. I took care of myself. I found ways to wash and bathe and all that stuff and keep clean. But the point of the matter is just the entrepreneurship in me. I walked downtown where they had clubs and things of that nature, and I would pick up these CDs from artists from where the street promoters would hand out of the clubs. I would pick up these CDs. I would go into a different demographical type of area for 10. I still remember the routine. But my goal was to sell in bulk, cut down on provide discounts just like a typical business would to entice people. And I would rack up $20 here, $20 there all day. And at the end of the day, I would end up earning $100 to $200 a day, depending on my work ethic. Well, that goes to show you any type of business, if you simply put the work in, you're going to get the results back. Not always at first, but if you're staying diligent enough, you're always going to get the results. And that was kind of like me. But I focused, my workmanship is I focused on working instead of the actual situation that I was in. And Paul's story in particular I can relate to, and I actually had goosebumps on my arms when he was telling me his story, because there was a time I almost ended my life as well. Not to get graphic, but, you know, guys, this is the real deal, and I am the real Chad Cook. I had a gun inside my mouth, sitting inside of nowhere land, by myself, couldn't talk, couldn't see my children, nothing. And for some strange reason, during my journey, something happened. I don't know, I can't explain it, but something jerked that gun out of my mouth, and tears was pouring down my face. And I just simply just had an epiphany. And I just simply came back to my senses and kind of slapped myself, kicked myself in the ass. And I was just like, talking to myself, I thought I was going crazy, and I was like, okay, Chad, this is the time. You've got to do this. I did it, guys. For some reason, some way, I found a way. And there's a lot more details, but I don't want to stay on this thing for hours, guys. But the point of the matter is, guys, is I found a way to make money. I found a way to put my focus back in alignment with my overall goal, and that's simply to survive at that point. Now, gaining this $100, $200 a day, selling CDs, all I did is I followed the 80-20 rule, and I would set 80% to the side and use 20% of it for food. And I just made that short-term sacrifice for that long-term result to go ahead and gain what I wanted in life, and that's simply to provide myself with stability. I don't know if any of you guys out there listening in can relate to this particular thing, but for my life and for my situation, I was always struggling for stability. Stability in relationships, stability in jobs, stability in my own life. And I was always this stand-up kind of guy that every time I find a job, so to speak, I would intimidate them with being a stand-up guy. They were intimidated by me because they were afraid that I was going to take their job and take their position. So needless to say, and that wasn't always the case, but that's just giving you some scenarios. But the moral of the story is, guys, is this whole situation only led to one thing, and it's I didn't want to quit. Deep inside my inner hearts, I did not want to quit. I always had this fighting beast inside of me. I was like a lion walking back and forth inside of a cage, and I was just dying to get somebody to open that gate, let me out. You know what I mean? And it was just one of those things, guys. I felt like my hands was tied behind my back. And dream was to provide my family with what was needed. I didn't want to have to worry about bills. I didn't want to have to worry about being in deficit all my life, or having to walk and catch the bus and, you know, make sure my kids had enough things for school. And, you know, it's just all this crap just bottled up inside of me. And I finally put my foot down, got pissed off. And everybody that knows me personally, when I get pissed off, it's time to make something happen. I mean, it's time. And that's pretty much what led me and developed my name out in Orlando, Florida, and everybody started calling me Warz, W-A-R-Z. For some strange reason, they called me that because all my life, for most people that have known me for years, it has been a constant war in my life for just simply fighting for stability. That's all I ever wanted. Well, I finally got it, guys. After all the years and trials and tribulations and things of that nature, guys, it's one of these things that's going to happen. Okay? I ran into another rocky situation, okay? And what happened was I ended up having to get a 9-to-5 job to support my family. I put my pride to the side, even though I felt I always made more money working for myself. The moral of this is I knew I would make more money if I could simply find that stability and go ahead, put my pride aside, land a 9-to-5 job type of thing so I can have guaranteed money coming in so I can take that capital and turn around and flip it. And what I mean by flipping it out, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's when you buy something wholesale or negotiate somebody down as low as you can and turn around and flip it for a higher value and price, and you keep the profits. For the longest time, I had no choice because I ended up getting, pretty much canned. I wouldn't say fired. I was laid off along with 14 others, laid off from this particular employer. I had no choice. I had a family. Man, first started off buying cell phones, cheap, negotiating the people down, turning around and flipping them at a higher value, keeping $20 here, $30 here, whatever I could get. Well, I just salvaged enough to where I upgraded and I started buying laptops. Okay, eventually found a way to start flipping cars. I saved up enough money and I started flipping cars. With 1 or 2 a week, I pushed myself, and at the point I was flipping 11 on an average basis, 11 cars a week, making a net worth of over 11. A net worth of $2,200. I forget the exact change. It was a little above 22 grand a month, just for simple Craigslist. I had no choice. That time, that led me to a certain situation in my life where I had to. Can you guys hear me? Okay? Am I still coming in clear? Thumbs up, down.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry, guys, having technical difficulties. You're good. Okay, sorry, I was having technical difficulties just for a second. Sorry about that, guys.
Hey guys, I gotta run.
Bottom line is this: I gotta run.
Love your story, man. I'll catch the replay. See you guys.
All right, thank you, Gary.
All right, Gary. Thanks so much, bud. But not to take up too much longer, guys, and I was afraid this is going to happen. There's just no way sometimes you can cut a story like this short, guys, because if I leave certain things out, it's just simply not going to make sense. But the point is every single time I ran into an obstacle, I found a freaking way to make it happen. And for some of you guys right now that are in a similar situation, that, in general, aside for a second. Okay, successful business, you got to start with your personal life. Without personal development, you're not going to have a successful anything. And if you don't have the value or the development to help yourself, for Christ's sake, how the hell do you expect to help anybody else in this network marketing business? So, that comes to show you guys, you got to have it, okay? You can't be taught to have that no quitting attitude. It has to be either developed or you have to surround yourself around people to help you get developed. And that decision is ultimately yours. You guys have to be the one to make that ultimate choice and start taking control of your life. Plain and simple. I don't want to take up. I'm going to cut off right there. I'm going to speak the rest of this in my final thoughts. And if you want to take it away, Bud, I'll see you guys in just a little bit.
All right, brother. Hats off. I'm proud of you for putting that out in the public. I mean, that's a big deal, and it's a hard thing for some people to do. You absolutely have to be in the right place in your life and with yourself to be able to share the things that these guys have openly shared with you. And the one thing that anybody following this show, if you've been following it, or today's your first time, this is real, man. We are here to be real, transparent, genuine. We want to inspire, motivate, uplift all of you. We know it's not going to happen for everybody, and that's okay. But we just want to share our knowledge and our successes with you guys so that you know, yeah, granted, you may not make as much money as we do right away, and that's okay. But you got to start somewhere. You got to begin somewhere, and you got to know without a shadow of a doubt that there is no magic button for you to push. Despite what you see out there online, there is no magic button that's going to make you rich. If you see ads out online that guarantees you income, no sponsoring, no recruiting, run. Click away from it. There are no guarantees in any business, in anything in life. What you give and what you put forth is what you will get in return. Okay? And I want to pound that point because it pisses me off to no end when I see those kind of ads out online guaranteeing income or push this button and you're going to make 40 grand a month. It hurts the average everyday person that seriously wants to come out online to make money to help their families. Okay? It's bull crap. Find legitimate people and you'll find a legitimate company. You're looking at 3 right here. Unfortunately, Gary had to head out. But yeah, man, look around. There's people out there. There's legitimate things out there. There's a lot of great companies. But the bottom line is, if you do not get yourself developed into the type of person you need to become, it isn't going to matter what business you're in, you're going to struggle. So focus on becoming the best you that you can be, being positive, motivating, giving value to other people without expecting anything in return. Don't try to charge them. Give it away, because that is going to bring the type of people around you that you want anyway. I know we're almost up on an hour right now. You know, I certainly wanted to talk a little bit about what I've gone through. I'm going to give you a squished up version. I'm just going to hit the highlights of things that have happened in my life that just so you can relate and you can see, because Paul's story is awesome. Chad, again, I commend you for coming out in public and talking about that. I mean, that had to have been an unbelievably hard time in your personal life to have some, you know, a gun in your mouth. I mean, that just, I can't fathom that. But man, I love you, dude. I love you guys. You are awesome. But real quick, I'll go through mine and then we'll get some ending thoughts here. You know, I was brought up in a divorced family, like, you know, over 50% of the population. Always vowed growing up that I would never have that happen, you know, if I got married. Grew up about 7 years old. I watched my dad get pulled into and out to jail. Decided at a young age I was never going to be a drug addict. I was never going to be in jail. And happy to say I never have. Woohoo! ended up living with my mom. I went to like 8 different schools, focused on sports. I got really good at sports. Got out of school, kind of messed up a college basketball gig. Again, it's all in decisions that we make, and you know they're not always good ones, but we live and we learn. So anyway, out of high school, I started working. I did some subcontracting work, cutting scrap metal all day. I got married, had my first boy, who is now 23 years old, and then kind of like Chad's situation with his kid's mom, mine thought the grass was greener on the other side. She ends up getting pregnant to somebody else while we're married and have our little boy. So that was pretty devastating. You know, one thing that was really hard, as I know it was for Chad, his situation was a bit different because he got kind of thrown to the wayside and she took everything, and mine wasn't so bad because that was, you know, that was able to be proven in court, and I actually ended up with the boys anyway. So that happened. That was pretty devastating. I had no choice. I couldn't quit. I had a little boy, you know, I had to take care of. So moved on. I became a warehouse manager at a pool installation facility here in Pennsylvania. Then I went back to cutting scrap. And cutting scrap all day long with a 3-foot acetylene torch, it gets hot. Well, it was about a 102-degree day. I'm cutting scrap for about 10 or 11 hours. I go home, change, jump in the swimming pool. Bam, I got out. I was shivering. I could hardly walk into the house. I ended up having heat stroke. I could hear people, but I couldn't open my eyes, and I couldn't move my body. So that was a near-death experience for me. Got through all that. Ended up now I have my 2 boys, single dad. I end up getting a job at a beautiful hotel. I valet parked cars there till I left, and I did that for 18 years. You know, out of all of the negative things that happened in my life, the hardest one for me was working a job for 18 years, knowing that myself and my boys and my loved ones deserved way more, and I was sitting here working a job that I knew would never be able to create the lifestyle that I wanted for my family. So while I'm there, me and my boys are staying with my mom. I had a month between where we were living until I could move into a new place. 2 days before we were going to move into the new place, the house burns down. I was actually in a network marketing weight loss company at the time. Just spent about $8,000 for product because I was really starting to get this thing going. All burned up in the house. We lost everything. We were standing out there, me, my 2 boys, and my mom, in our underdrawers and T-shirt, and that's all. That's it. Everything went up. I actually ran back into a burning house. When I went back in, I had to get to my desk because on my desk I had about $2,500 cash and my truck keys. So I go back into the fire, hearing my 2 kids in the background yelling, "Daddy, no, 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 don't." I go in, the smoke is about all the way down to my waist. The fire started in the attic. You could hear the windows blowing out, but I knew if I couldn't get in there and get that money was for me and my boys to get into our new place. I knew I was toast, man. What was I going to do? And my mom, well, you know, the place just is burning right in front of us. So I managed to get in there. I get my truck keys and I get the money. You know, fire, they come, but it's a total loss. So we got nothing. We got put up in a hotel and got some help from the Red Cross, which was absolutely awesome. So anyway, yet another thing that can, a lot of people, like I said at the beginning, just would say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not going through this anymore. I can't take it. Why is my life like this? I can't answer that, even to this day. I have no idea why those things happen. But one thing I know for sure, right now, today, while you're watching me, I don't give a shit about any of that happened. It doesn't matter. It's gone. It happened. I'm moving forward. I've been moving forward. I choose to not focus on the past. I choose to focus on the future and where we're going. And that's what we need to encourage you guys to do. Never quit. Never quit. Always look ahead. The only time you should ever look back is when you're turning to put your hand out to help somebody up with you. And that's it. Other than that, don't look back. Okay? So that's mine real quick. I didn't want to take up too much time, but I think you get the point. We all, like Gary said, we all have a story. And it's very, very important for everybody, especially if you're in the online business arena, to get your story out there. It's going to touch somebody. It's going to touch way more people than you even realize. Okay? Winners never quit, baby. That's what it's all about, right? You guys rock, man. This has been an absolute honor getting this information out there to you guys. Chad, again, man, and the same with you, Paul. I commend you guys. You know how I feel about you. But to tell that kind of story in public is not an easy thing to do. And like I said, when you're in the right place in your life, anything is possible. You can do anything. And you guys are rock stars, man. So let's go ahead and give some last thoughts here, and then I'm going to come back on and wrap it up. I'm gonna give you a huge invitation, one that we, without a shadow of a doubt, know that you need to jump on. With that being said, Chad, why don't you go ahead and give your final thoughts, brother?
Not a problem. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it, bud. I'm not going to get into in-depth, guys, but I do want to say this, okay? I know a lot of you out there right now watching in is probably wondering, really what's the key, what's the secret. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate something that you've probably all been wondering, and I'm going to eliminate it right now, okay? You are the secret of the success. Okay, you already have what you need to succeed in your life. You just may not know how to use it of what you already have. You know what I mean? You might not know how to use the tools given to you that you already have. And that's where basically Ed, Paul, this business in general comes into play. Okay, that's where the fun begins. Our business basically is catered to one thing. It's geared to one thing, and that's simply to pull pull that inner champion out of you that's just been dying to get out. We're responsible for finding that, okay? Your job is to use it. We can't make you use the tools you already have, okay? We can show you how. But the rest of everything else that falls into place, guys, that's up to you, okay? You just have to be mentally stable. I'm going to go back to using that word again, stable enough to mentally know how to use it, okay? See, every one of us has, like Gary said, Paul, and we all have our own success story. No matter what type of form and shape and size it comes into play, we all have our form of success. Okay? The difference is if you want to make it really easier for you to not to want to quit or not put yourself in a position to want to quit or stop or give up, fold up, whatever how you want to word it, it's one thing's right here. It's to simply make a decision to not to quit, okay? Now, just taking it back, just to give you a scenario, okay? Decision and incision is cousins with each other, okay? If you're going to make a decision, that means that you're going to have to cut out any other option that's going to prevent you from doing what you really want to do in life. There is no other option. There's not point A, plan B, plan C. There's only plan A. And that's the only thing you need to put your focus on. And that's going back to my story when I was homeless for, at least, I was, guys, I don't even want to get back into it. That's past. But the point is I didn't have a choice but to succeed, okay? I took it from being homeless on the streets with not having any family of my children, and I ended up, the result of that story, guys, that I never did say, I ended up driving a Lexus SUV, okay? And that's just simply by, being resilient, being a warrior, not knowing how to quit. That's my problem. I'm too damn hard-headed to quit. It's not even in my vocabulary. Okay, I don't care how hard it gets or how hard it's going to be. I don't care. It's not going to stop me because I'm too powerful, too strong mentally to let anything else stop me. You know what I mean? But just that kind of brings me back to something. I want to give you guys a scenario real quick. Okay. Some of you may or may not know who Cat Williams is. Now, I was watching. My family and I, we love comedy show. Okay. Got to have laughter in our home, or you won't get along with us. But during this session of Cat Williams doing his stand-up comedy, he told a story that really inspired me. Okay, and it just transitioned it back to this marketing stuff. He told a story about Tink Tink. Okay, now Tink Tink was a guy. He had a disability. He was handicapped. He had fake legs. At the end of his legs, he would tink. It would like tink 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 every time he walked. Right? Well, prior to losing his legs, guys, he was a professional track runner. He liked to run. Okay? Even after his tragic situation, during his time, he still entered contests to run with his fake legs. And he was tinking himself all the way down, round and round, and didn't stop, right? Well, make a long story short out of this is he put himself in a competition in the Olympics, and he ended up winning this competition. Right? Follow me just real quick. At the end of that competition, he won that, right? With a disability. Okay? So that just goes to show you the moral of this story is, guys, is why is it those that have a handicap or a disability able to overcome obstacles and not quit more so than the people that doesn't have the physical challenge or doesn't have the handicap? Why do you think that is? Is it because they have more to prove? Do you think they're more hungry? The answer is yes. Okay? The only handicap anybody in this world has is the mental cap that we put on ourselves. That's the difference right there, guys. And so right now, I challenge you, anybody watching, whether you're in this business, whether you're not in this business, here's the value, here's the golden nugget. I challenge you right now to get in tune with your star player. And I challenge you to do it today. Your star player, guys, just so you know, is you. It's your passion. It's your desire to want to succeed. That's your star player. And some of you guys honestly treat your star player like shit every day. You're not getting up. You're not mentally preparing yourself. You're not motivating yourself to the point to make you want to change your routine up, to want to push yourself to that next level that you need. Why? You're not surrounding yourself with the right people. That might be the problem. Okay? You can't gain this type of emotion. You cannot gain this type of development if it's not being handed to you or if it's not worked for. That's the difference. Okay? So I challenge you to be in tune with your star player. I challenge you to not get distracted with all those lingering craps floating around out there that we call shiny objects. Okay? I challenge you as well to filter out any negative elements in your life, and I don't care who they are or what it is. You've got to do it. The only way to change that up, guys, is to take yourself out of that negative habitat. You have to remove yourself from that negative habitat that you're in, whether it's a mental oasis, whether it's people, friends, relatives even. I mean, God, we all have, those kind of people in our family, unfortunately. But we make that choice to surround ourselves with those type of people, right? And I want to also challenge you to do this one thing as well, guys, is I want to challenge you to reconfigure your daily routine and stay disciplined enough on a consistent basis to keep doing it, okay? I want you to try that and see what kind of results you're going to get at the end. Okay? So right now, finally and foremost, guys, I challenge you. I challenge you right here, right now, to take action. Start taking ownership of your damn life, and let's get it together. Okay? We're not, but we will put you in the right direction that you need to be in to give you that boost that is obviously deserved. You've been through enough, guys. Let's get a damn reward for it. You know what I mean? We've all been through hell in certain shape and form, right? We all had our limits pushed to where it's just unbearable. Well, now's the time to take ownership of your life. You got to do it, guys. Click on the button, join with us in our business, and let's get the action and set in place. You want change? Be the change. Stop making excuses and make results, guys. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate your time. I'm Chad Cook. Two probably at the bottom.
As always, Chad, it's hard to follow you up, man. You fire me up every time. It's awesome to hear you speak. Guys. I mean, you've seen all of us, Chad, Ed, Gary, and myself. We all have our stories, and we've all had our struggles. And it just goes to show you we're real people. Everyone has their struggles. We all have our stories. The difference between winners, like what you see here, and those who don't make it is their ability to persevere through the struggles and not to quit. I mean, it all comes back to the topic. Winners never quit, and that's really what it boils down to. Just listening to some of the stuff that you guys are talking about, I mean, it's amazing that you can survive through some of that stuff, but we all have, and I think it's ingrained in us, and I think it's ingrained in everyone. Everyone can overcome their struggles like this, but you just have to push through and surround yourself, like what Chad was saying. You cut the negativity out of your life. When I made that decision that I was not going to quit and I was going to do whatever it takes to reach my goals, I made some tough decisions. I cut negativity out of my life completely. That unfortunately sometimes that includes cutting out people who might be closest to you, because if you're not able to lift them up with you, they're just dragging you down, and you have to be able to realize that. It sucks. Come right on. It sucks sometimes, but you just have to do that. So what you want to do, cut out the negativity and start surrounding yourself with like-minded people who want to lift you up, who know that you have it in you to reach your goals and to be a success. And that's what we all have here. And we're here to help you. We'll help you however we can, and we do these trainings every week for you guys. And when you join our team, this is just scratching the surface here. We have so much going on that can help you. I mean, it would take a whole hour just to go through all that. I'm not going to try to explain it here, but we have something special here, and we can help you. We want to help you if you're willing to accept our help. And that's the big thing. You have to be willing to accept it. So, click on the button now if you're not already in with us. Join our team, and we'll help you. So, go over to you, Ed.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks a lot, Paul, for your closing. Chad, that was an amazing close, brother. I loved it. I loved it. I love the passion, and you guys can see the passion that we have. I apologize if I got a little loud or a little, my hand gestures go. I got a lot of Italian in me. But we're real deal, like we said, Paul and Chad both. Listen, we just did a training last week about the power of a team, and teamwork makes the dream work. You want to work with people that are winners, that are already successful, and that can get you on the path to success. And that's what we got right here, Marketers Mastermind. We're having success. We're winners, and we will never quit. We will never quit on ourselves, and we will never quit on anybody that's on our team. We're not going to sit here and kick you in the rear end every day trying to get you and keep you motivated. You need to be motivated to do that part yourself. That comes with the personal development. And we have the best in the industry as far as I'm concerned, as far as personal development. So you want to be a part of a winning team. You want to have guys that are passionate about helping other people. Chad, Paul, myself, we are here to help anybody, like they said, that's willing to help themselves. You got to be willing first. We want you to make a decision right now that today is the day you're going to change the rest of your life. Click that button below that says join our team. Okay? Get on this team. It's $25. You spend $25 to get yourself started. You will be contacted personally by one of us three. Okay? So I challenge you, just like Chad was giving you challenges. Push that button. Get signed up. Make today the day that even if you're in a current business and you're not having the results you want, I made a personal change because I wasn't having the results I wanted. Now I have them. It's the best decision I could have ever made. Okay? You might need a change. This is the change you need. Click the button below. We will welcome you with open arms. We will work with you. We will give you our passion to help each and every one of you. We love you. We believe in you. And no matter what you're doing, no matter what you get involved in, be in it to win it. Stop talking and start doing. On behalf of Chad Cook, Paul Filardo, this is marketersmastermind.com. Every Wednesday at 12 noon. Come feel our passion. Learn some good things and follow some great people. All right? We love you guys. Peace out. Till next week.